Hello, everyone. Welcome back to International Royals TV. Thank you for clicking. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please thumbs up if you haven't already. So today we'll be continuing on with King Charles III's life history, and we are on session number 9, and it's called Personal Interest, and we split it into two categories. We already covered built environment, national environment, alternative medicine. So next we are going to focus on sports and visual performing and literary arts and religion and philosophy. If you've missed any of our previous sessions, you'll be able to catch up in the playlist that's called King Charles III's Life History, and you'll find that on Community tab and in the playlist section. So today I am talking about King Charles III's life history, and we are on session number 9 called Personal Interests. So now we are going to cover sports. So let's do that. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. So let's go. Sports, in terms of King Charles III's life history, in terms of his personal interests. Sports. From his youth until 2005, Charles was an avid player of competitive polo. Charles also frequently took part in fox hunting until the sport was banned in the United Kingdom, also in 2005. By the late 1990s, opposition to the activity was growing when Charles's participation was viewed as a political statement by those who were opposed to it. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. Charles suffered several polo and hunting-related injuries throughout the years, including a 2-inch scar on his left cheek in 1980, a broken arm in 1990, a torn cartilage in his left knee in 1992, a broken rib in 1998, and a fractured shoulder in 2001. Wow. Oh my goodness, those sports were a little bit dangerous to him back in the day. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. Charles has been a keen salmon angler since youth and supported Ori Vigfussen's efforts to protect the North Atlantic salmon. He frequently fishes the River Dee in Aberdeenshire and claims his most special angling memories are from his time spent in Vopnafjord. I can never pronounce this, sorry about that. It's in Iceland. Charles is a supporter of Burnley Football Club. Ah, that's interesting. A source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. Apart from hunting, Charles has also participated in target rifle competitions, representing the House of Lords in the Vizianagram match, in brackets, Lords versus Commons at Bisley. He became president of the British National Rifle Association in 1997. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia, and we're continuing on with King Charles III's life history, and we're talking about his personal interests. Visual performing and literary arts. We're on the second segment of session number 9. Okay. Visual performing and literary arts. Charles has been involved in performance since his youth and appeared in sketches and reviews while studying at Cambridge. Charles is president or patron of more than 20 performing arts organizations, including the Royal College of Music, Royal Opera, English Chamber Orchestra, Royal Shakespeare Company, in brackets, attending performances in Stratford-upon-Avon, supporting fundraising events, and attending the company's annual general meeting, close bracket, British Film Institute and Purcell School. In 2000, he revived the tradition of appointing an official harpist to the Prince of Wales in order to foster Welsh talent at playing the national instrument of Wales. The role, now referred to as King's Harpist, is currently held at Marad Pugh Evans. It's also reading from his Wikipedia. Charles is a keen watercolorist, having published books on the subject and exhibited and sold a number of his works to raise money for charity. In 2016, it was estimated that he had sold lithographs of his watercolors for a total of £2 million from a shop at his Highgrove House residence. Wow, that's an achievement. For his 50th birthday, 50 of his watercolors were exhibited at Hampton Court Palace, and for his 70th birthday, his works were exhibited at the National Gallery of Australia. Charles founded the Royal Drawing School in 2000, which offers drawing classes to children and the public. In 2001, 20 lithographs of his watercolor paintings illustrating his country estates were exhibited at the Florence International Biennale of Contemporary Art, and 79 of his paintings were put on display in London in 2022. To mark the 25th anniversary of his investiture as Prince of Wales in 1994, the Royal Mail issued a series of postage stamps that featured his paintings. So I'm reading from his Wikipedia. Charles is honorary president of the Royal Academy of Arts Development Trust, and in 2015, 2022 and 2023 commissioned paintings of 12 D-Day veterans, 7 Holocaust survivors, and 10 members of the Windrush generation, respectively, which went on display at the Queen's Gallery in Buckingham Palace. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. Charles is the author of several books and has contributed a foreword or preface to numerous books by others. He has also been featured in a variety of documentary films. Interesting. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. So now we move on to religion and philosophy in terms of King Charles III's life history under personal interests. This is the third segment. Religion and philosophy. Shortly after his accession to the throne, Charles publicly described himself as a committed Anglican Christian. At age 16, during Easter 1965, he had been confirmed into the Anglican Communion by Archbishop of Canterbury, Michael Ramsey, in St. George's Chapel, Windsor Castle. The King is the Supreme Governor of the Church of England and a member of the Church of Scotland. He swore an oath to uphold that church immediately after he was proclaimed king. He attends services at various Anglican churches close to Highgrove and attends the Church of Scotland's Crave Kirk with the rest of the royal family when staying at Balmoral Castle. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. Lawrence van der Post became a friend of Charles in 1977. He was dubbed Charles's spiritual guru and was godfather to Prince William. From Van der Post, Charles developed a focus on philosophy and an interest in other religions. Charles expressed his philosophical views in his 2010 book, Harmony, A New Way of Looking at Our World, which won a Nautilus Book Award. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. He has also visited Eastern Orthodox monasteries on Mount Athos in Romania and in Serbia, and met with Eastern Church leaders in Jerusalem in 2020 during a visit that culminated in an ecumenical service in the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem and a walk through the city, accompanied by Christian and Muslim dignitaries. Source and reading from is Wikipedia. Charles also attended the consecration of Britain's first Syriac Orthodox Cathedral, St. Thomas Cathedral, Acton. Charles is patron of the Oxford Centre for Islamic Studies and at Charles is patron of the Oxford Centre for Islamic Studies at the University of Oxford and attended the inauguration of the Markfield Institute of Higher Education, which is dedicated to Islamic studies in a multicultural context. That's nice. A source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. In his 1994 documentary with Dimbleby, Charles said that when king, he wished to be seen as a defender of faith rather than the British monarch's traditional title of Defender of the Faith, preferring to embrace all religious traditions and the pattern of the divine, which I think is in all of us, he says. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. This attracted controversy at the time, as well as speculation that the coronation oath might be altered. He stated in 2015 that he would retain the title of Defender of the Faith, whilst ensuring that other people's faiths can also be practiced, which he sees as a duty of the Church of England. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. Charles reaffirmed this theme shortly after his accession and declared that his duties as sovereign included the duty to protect the diversity of our country, including by protecting the space for faith itself and its practice through the religions, cultures, traditions, and beliefs to which our hearts and minds direct us as individuals. Although the text of the coronation oath was not altered because the process of passing new legislation through Parliament would be lengthy and liable to raise divisive issues, a preamble spoken by the Archbishop of Canterbury was added to the text. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. There's a bit here that says, Your Majesty, the church established by law, whose settlement you will... Okay, let's bypass that bit. His inclusive multi-faith approach and his own Christian beliefs were expressed in his first Christmas message as king. In line with his multi-faith approach, Charles has served as a patron of the Council of Christians and Jews and of the Jewish Museum, London. So that brings us to the end of session number 9, which focused on King Charles III's personal interests, and that was segment number 2. We had to split it into 2 categories. In session number 9, first of all, we talked about built environment, national environment, alternative medicine, and then this is part 9, part 2, and then we talked about sports, visual, performing, and literary arts, and then religion and philosophy. So that concludes of session number 9. So the next session will be called is session number 10, and that will be called Media, Image, and Public Opinion. So hopefully see you back later on for that session. If you'd like to catch up, or if you've missed any of today's session, you can catch up in the playlist section, and on the community tab, the playlist is called King Charles III's Life History. Also, if you might be interested in more of the royal family members' life history series, you'll find it on the community tab, and in the playlist section, we did Queen Elizabeth II's life history, Princess Anne's life history, Prince Edward's life history, and Prince Philip's life history. So after King Charles III's life history, and he is part of the Queen's 4 children. So we've only got one remaining member of the Queen's 4 children to do, and that will be after we will be doing formally Prince Andrew, because he's still the Queen's son. So we're gonna do his life history as well after King Charles III's. We're not gonna miss him out. He's still the Queen's son. So that'll be our next life history series after this one. So I'll see you on the next session, which will be session number 10. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please thumbs up if you haven't already. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate your time. Now I will put up the poll question, so feel free to interact with that. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here. See you on the next one.